Now, since I have a box full of vintage Olympia tap handles, it would surprise nobody that I'm going to feature a couple of these vintage Olympia tap handles. I just recently did this one, but I did want to touch on this one. We have this one next, and this one is a vintage lucite tap handle, lucite or acrylic. For people that haven't seen my previous videos, lucite is kind of like the brand name, and then it's I guess, a type of acrylic polymer or whatever. But typically when you're seeing any of the super clear tap handles, then that's going to be something that people will refer to as lucite, even if it may not be exactly that type of material. With the older ones, typically they will be lucite. So in this case, this one most likely is proper lucite, but just beautiful, clear lucite there. There's a few things to note about this one. First of all, with these in general, you'll typically see this type of design. You'll see that on the back, it's pretty much entirely flat. And then if there is any curving or any angles, then you'll typically see that on the front. There's a couple of things that are rather notable about this tap. One of them is that it does have a inward curve there, and it actually goes in like that. So as opposed to curving from the top to the bottom, it's actually curving from the left to the right, or right to the left, depending upon how you're looking at it. So just worth noting that. And then also on top of that, if we take a look at this from the side, you'll see where you're actually getting this image on the front. Looking at it from the side, you'll see that you've got this core element. That's your typical core element that's going to have the wording and that sort of stuff. A lot of times they'll have some type of slightly reflective or gold or silver type material on there. But the other thing that's super cool to note is that you do have that horseshoe as its own individual item. If we look at the back, you'll see that it's just a design of horseshoe, this part of that single printed element, but on the front you're actually getting a physical item that's in there. So that's pretty cool. On top of that, with that, you've got Pale Export Olympia beer, and it says it's the water. I guess that was one of their trademarks or terms that they use or used. I don't know. And then down here on the bottom, this is where you're going to have the threading. This is how it attaches to your tap handle, or I do the bottle opener adapters, but that's how it attaches to any items, is through that. You'll notice that with this one, you do have that brass element in there. That is very common for a lot of the lucite or resin tap handles, for them to have threading in there that uses a brass insert. So essentially you've got two levels of threading, one outer threading that's actually going into the resin, and then a inner threading from that insert that goes in there. And that is the standard North American threading, so that's the 3/8/16 threading. But overall, good solid tap handle, a little bit on the smaller side. Also, not a big deal, but it does have slightly more aggressive edges there, but still, like, great tap handle. Really, really cool.